helped us formulate that, and the result today will be the second part, is we have a complete accident checklist, kit, everything you need to control the scene correctly. Now, what we're talking about here is really in the side swipe there were no injuries. However, the car was occupied X2, so there were two people in there, driver, passenger, and then of course our driver Marty. So there's three people involved. None of that is going to be dictated how we handle it, but the thing to stress here is even a very minor accident. You've all seen the billboards, you've all heard the radio commercials, you've all heard the nuclear verdicts that are out there. Any small scene, any small accident can turn into a major in the courtroom, anyhow. So this stuff sounds dumb to walk through. It sounds like we're trying to make a lot of work out of nothing, but the fact is you don't know when that person is going to call Marcus and Mac or Edgar Schneider or whoever it is. Who? Yeah, Zod. Yep, you're right. You never know when it's going to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you guys control this first scene, and I want you as a group to walk us through what needs to happen from the time the accident happened to the time that you're released from the scene. And I'm not going to make one person do this right now. Next time somebody's going to be holding the clipboard, but at this point just walk us through how you would handle the side swipe, two people in the car, one driver in the truck, two-lane roadway. First, get out, make sure everybody's okay. Good. Are they? Yes. They're all okay. All right.
Then you secure the scene.
Okay. And how do you do crime? What are the distance on the track? Two-lane roadway.
100, 200, 300. A 2-lane, you put one out front.
There you go, Marty. All right.
Then you take pictures. Call the cops. Call whoever. You take pictures.
Okay.
And you don't say you're sorry or you did nothing. You don't jump out and holler, what the hell did you hit me for? Just be good.
Okay.
Get all your information, get the information from the other drivers, if they'll give it to you.
Okay. That comes in a couple reasons of being. One, obviously, if the truck starts to roll away because you jumped out quickly, which everybody gets hyped with an accident. I don't care how veteran you are, you're going to get nervous and quick up.
Any truck driver can get out of the truck without setting brakes and shouldn't drive the truck.
I agree, but I tell you, I know Great West gave examples of two at their symposium that the driver did exactly that. These are seasoned drivers, and it wasn't their first day on the job. They jumped out of the truck, forgot to set brakes, anything like that. The truck rolled ahead and caused another accident. So it happens. I mean, it's not. Right. And so once you've done that, and then you get out and you're looking, first are you okay? Do you need medical attention? This day and age, you got to look for yourself because everybody else on there might not be looking after you. So assuming you don't need medical attention, then Marty's right. You're going to go and you're going to check on the others.
I was more worried about checking on that guy than I was about myself.
And I understand that, but if you drop over because you're bleeding out of your back and you don't know it, then it doesn't really matter whether you get to the other guy first or not. So, you got to look at it.
I was just going to say, I think this is why we're going through this exercise, because what I'm hearing is like, yeah, hey, you're capturing a lot of good things, and you guys have all been trained, probably at New Hire, right? Like how to handle the accident. What we're really trying to do is standardize the process so everybody's kind of reading from the same playbook, and that's where this checklist is really hard. So how we handle that situation? What? some things out there. So you got the dash cams in there. What if the officer or somebody says, "Hey, I'd like to take a look at that"?
You have to contact them.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so let's start. You just had the accident. So before you get out, you got to secure the truck, right? You don't. Even a minor accident, you're going to make sure the brakes are set in the truck, the trailer. You know, probably turn it off. Obviously, if it's a major and there's something going on, then you need to get your ass out of the truck if it's upside down or on the side or whatever. But initially, assuming an accident like this, you gotta secure the truck. Still in the vehicle. They're still in their vehicle. We don't know anything other than, oh crap, somebody hit me. So Marty did so good last time, he gets to hold the clipboard and the envelope, and he's going to take care of telling us what we have to do, and we're going to walk through it. So I've not told you anything other than this, and I bet if you open that envelope, pull out the paperwork and start looking at it, you're going to very quickly take control of this chaotic scene, because this person back here is pissed off, and you are too.
Do I need to get my fire buttons out?
No, they're not that pissed off.
At least not until you open your mouth.
Yes, exactly. Now, look through those papers, because there's a few there that are more helpful than the others. Okay, that's pretty good. There's something that'll help us die, right? Well,
Too many sticky rolls.
Oh, yeah, you have to lick your
Yeah.
finger.
so we got a few different things that could come in handy. Okay, so we're going to generally start with the very first paper that's in there is an accident scene checklist. Now, it was actually Stephanie that came up with this idea, and they're ready. We just got to pick them up. Every truck, every company truck, is going to have on their driver's side visor a decal, I forget, let's call it 3x5, that has a mini checklist for accident scene. So if you do have an accident, and assuming you can still get to the visor, all you got to do is flip it down, and if you have nothing else, you have a mini accident scene checklist. It's not as detailed as the documents in here, but it really will help guide you through it if you've got nothing else.
We all gonna get one.
Everyone's going to get one of these envelopes.
That'll be nice.
We have Ashley told Sue to order pink or orange folders. I'm sorry if they come in pink. I don't know why. But anyhow, you're going to get the envelopes for now, but we will be passing out orange or pink, I guess, folders, so they stand out in color more than a vanilla envelope. All right, Marty, so what do we got to do?
All right,
You name it, we'll do it.
Number one, scene safety. Park and turn the ignition off.
Okay.
Activate hazard lights.
Oh, crap. Yeah, we better do that.
Hazard lights.
Oh, Marty locked his truck. So anybody Okay.
Set out emergency triangles and flares. Now there's no part in here that says make sure everybody's.
Yeah, it's condensed. Remain professional, stay calm, be polite, stick to facts only, never share photos, do not apologize. So you're gonna talk. You are gonna still do that, but that, as you guys said, is more human nature. So on our detailed accident scene checklist, it is on there, but this fast, quick one, it's not. You're automatically gonna do that. You're gonna make sure you can move and you're not bleeding and all that stuff, and then you're gonna go after that. Okay.
Okay, then notify am I gonna know what 100
Step
feet
it
is?
off.
Okay.
You guys know how these work.
Roll mile.
I don't know.
You know how many trucks I've seen sitting on the intersection? The first one sitting right on the trailer.
Well, you don't want to be like other
No,
trucks.
right there on
One
the corner.
back 5 foot, one back 10.
Right.
Fun part to put them away. That's the
Okay, so
put them out's the easy part.
real simple to put up. Now, what you just said, we're not on the interstate, we're on a two-way. So how far is it supposed to be in front of me? Or in front of you, I should say. Okay,
There you go.
Hey,
all right.
start stepping.
It's gonna throw the other
It's
one.
not 100, but we're gonna call it 100.
Hey, that's what they do out in the highway. We see it all every day.
Yeah.
Right? About as far as they
That's how a
go.
Swift driver would do it.
That's how a Swift driver would do it.
And when they hang one off the trailer.
Ah. All right, how far behind, Chuck?
100, 200.
100, 200.
Put this in
You
here.
sure about that?
They changed that. Wait, because I could have sworn it was 10, 50, and 100.
That's I was thinking 50, 100, and 200.
That's what it's saying on
10,
here.
1, 2.
Good.
On an interstate. 10, 1,
Yeah. 10 foot for the first one and 100 foot for the second.
2. Yep.
10 foot,
Yeah. Well, that's what it is like on the interstate.
Okay, so now that we have those out, what did that just do for us?
secure the scene.
Yeah? Yep. Now, if another accident happens, it's a new accident scene. You have secured the scene, you've done everything you can to warn drivers, so if another accident happens, it's not part of our original scene. At least that's what I've been taught. A good lawyer's probably going to get by that. But, okay, what's next, Marty?
Photograph everything.
Okay, what if I don't know what to take photos of?
Take photo of everything.
There's a list here. All vehicles involved, debris or leaks.
Are you taking photos before you contact dispatch?
No.
So you're contacting dispatch first, authorities first.
Yep.
And what are you telling the dispatch?
If there was an accident, what happened? You got to get out and take pictures.
What information are you providing?
Where you are,
Okay.
basically what happened.
Okay. What else do we always ask you? Usually first words out of our mouths. It should be.
Are you okay?
Are you okay? Yep. Is everybody else okay? That's what we should ask you. Okay. We know you're okay. Have you talked to them?
By the time I called you, yes.
Okay. So let me tell you, they're not okay. The driver, the airbag went off. I don't know what happened from there. The passenger airbag went off. Okay. Anybody notice anything about that vehicle when we walked by it?
There's a car seat.
Car seat. So there was a baby in that vehicle as well. So it was occupied times 3. So we don't know how they are, other than we know there was airbag deployment. We know there's an infant. So we're definitely calling 911 no matter what. Okay? Alright. What up? Let me say anything.
No.
Okay. Go for it.
Okay, and you take pictures of debris on the road or leaks,
Yep.
road layout, traffic signals, signs, and obstructions,
Okay.
weather, flares, fog, smoke, etc. Damage all vehicles and property.
Okay. So if this is our scene, I'm gonna start right here, start taking pictures, right? Okay. I would say first, I'm gonna go find a fixed object. There's a post over there. That bucket's not fixed. There's a post over there. Maybe the support trailing.
Cards, because that is changing as of tomorrow. Those med cards, how we have the self-certification form for you to sign and send into the state, you no longer have to do that. We no longer have to do that. You still need to get a med card renewed. You still need to provide it to us so we can update it in our system and make sure you have that and everything else. But whoever does the physical will submit that to the state. They're required. So what we do when you bring your new med card to us, we have to check the National Registry to make sure whoever the provider was is on that registry, and then Sharon and I will periodically be checking the MBRs to make sure they hit your MBR like they're supposed to. So if they don't do it, we will know.
Yeah, they submitted to the FMS.
Yep. So we don't have to submit it anymore. They have to, but we have to make sure it's
Are
uploaded.
we still
like
gonna
so.
get penalized if they don't submit it though? As the driver.
That is a good question. You shouldn't.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, you shouldn't. But that is something I will have to look up and get back to you.
Yeah, because that's the only thing that makes me nervous with that is
If you-
they
if you
forget
get-
to do it, then we get penalized.
If
for
you
it.
get Ashley a copy and we have the actual, she's gonna argue that for you.
Okay.
She's gonna
Absolutely.
take that step for you
Right,
and say,
right.
we got the shit, it's not.
Yeah, because you already have.
Right, right.
She'll go and
Okay.
she'll
Yeah.
argue.
Believe us, she's got a
Sharon-
big mouth. She'll
Oh,
argue
yeah.
for it.
Share and make sure that she alerts everybody well enough in advance that you
Yeah,
have
I
plenty of
just know
time
how-
to get it renewed.
Yeah.
I just know how DOT can be with that stuff, and they see.
Ashley will
it's
take care
not.
of it. She's
Yeah,
got a
well-
set of fangs
Are
on
you still
her.
gonna set
Mhm.
up our physicals, or
We can,
just
yeah.
go anyway?
Yeah, we can still do it for you.
Yeah, Sharon sets mine up.
So
Yeah.
the biggest thing that we take off of it, outside of making sure you have it, is the expiration date, so that we keep monitoring that to make sure that everybody's aware it's coming up to be renewed. And I think Sharon's process is about 2 months out. She starts reminding you, and she'll ask you if you
Well,
want
she
her to set it
reminds
up.
me pretty early because I gotta go jump through a bunch of hoops.
Yeah.
So,
She's
I'm
she's
holding
pretty
you
good
back.
about reminding everybody, and we can set it up however you want, because we'll use the registry to find a location there and let you do it here in Brookville, so we have a guy. So the update is starting tomorrow. We don't have to submit it, you don't have to submit it, they submit it, we just double check that it's all complete. The thing that does not change is you still submit it to us so we can update the files here in the office. Okay? Next. The next general update we have is the Paul Miller's Law here in PA. I did send an email out alerting everybody before it went into effect. It did go into effect June 5th. This is commercial and personal. So obviously with commercial, FMCSA regulations still take priority. You still cannot hold your device. One touch, no leaning, no holding, things like that. Still wear your headsets. But the difference is this, is that it now applies to personal vehicles as well. So when you drop the truck off or you park the truck, when you get in your own vehicle, it still applies. For this year, until June 6th of next year, they will be written warnings, and then as of June 6th, 26th, they are to be giving out actual citations and or fines. So currently, FMCSA regulations, you can be fined. So that would take precedence if you were in the truck. You won't get a written warning, you will likely get a fine, and those fines range from $2,000 to $11,000. So you get a fine and Barber gets a fine. So easiest way to avoid all of it is don't do it. Okay. Questions on this law? Okay. Spotted lanternfly. So this has been an invasive species now for a while, affecting all of the red. That's a lot of where we travel anyway. So things to look for in the egg stages, they'll make like a nest with mud. So it'll look like caked on or dry and cracked. Then it'll grow or hatch into these little black, they call them nymphs. And then the black nymph turns into a red nymph, and then it turns into an adult, which is more like a moth looking thing. So things we have to look out for, because this is invasive and harmful to wood products mostly, but it will also attach to things. So we need to make sure we're checking our trucks, checking our cargo, things like that. So if you go to the next slide. This is a more specific zone for PA. Benji and I met with Penn State, and went over like the updates to this. So Venango County, most relevant to us, has been added to the zone. Things we need to do is make sure we're washing our trucks and equipment when we're going in and out of zones, especially if they're gonna like sit over the weekend and things like that. Monitor, so you wanna make sure you're checking your loads, check your truck, see if there's anything there. And then more toward the winter, like December, January, and February, -15 degrees Fahrenheit should kill off all of the adults, but it will not kill off the eggs. So if there's any eggs to be hatched, they won't die because that mud will
So what do you
insulate
do
them.
if you do see them on?
Oh, that's a good question. Next slide, please. Squash and go. Benji likes my saying.
Do you try to squash one of them? Did you ever see one?
I haven't seen it
Oh,
actually.
they're very
You
hard to
see one?
squash.
Oh, really?
You
They're
get your
fast.
on it, you
Yeah,
get
they're
your leg
fast.
picked up and they take off.
They
They're
hop.
really
Yeah,
fast.
they're fast.
Be a little quicker.
Yeah.
As soon as you get even close to them, they hop.
You try to find one and try to kill it, and then we'll talk.
Okay. So everybody's gonna get a copy of this, so that way you can know exactly what you're looking for. Because the summer they're gonna be hatching and things like that. So this is the typical lifespan: September through June, they can have eggs. April through July, they're starting into the nymphs. July to September, they're growing, and then July through December, they're typically adults. That's the typical lifespan. I'm not gonna say you won't see an adult in the spring. Like it can probably happen.
Not up
But
here. I had a swarm of them
did you squash?
Friday night. Yeah, they were squashed all over the front end.
So things to look at, you wanna definitely make sure you're checking your vehicle, check the cargo. They can attach, Joe was telling me they could attach to mud flaps, so it's not just wood they're attaching to. It could be like dirt up under the trailer, it could be the mud flaps. You wanna check your tarps that could get in there in the,
Down at JLG in Shippensburg there, Joe, it was infested with them. They were all over them parts that we haul, would haul in there.
so the front side will have where to check, the back side will have like all of the invasive areas, in the country, and then both sides will have photos so you can know what you're looking for. Any questions about our fancy little bugs that we've just squashing down? If you see any of them outside of a zone, so like if you are picking up a load here in Brookville and you find it on that load, Jefferson County is not in the zone, so we need to report that. So you need to let us know that you saw them on a load from Brookville, and then squash them, and then we'll let Penn State know and report that its species is here in Jefferson County now. So, any questions on spotted lanternfly?
Are we to keep track of some of that? Are we to keep track of this?
So you'll get a handout, so you know what you're looking for and everything, and a reminder to report. Once you tell us, you squash it and just keep going.
Okay.
If you want to keep track, we can figure out a prize for whoever squashes the most.
Most confirmed kills.
So you want us to bring you squash?
No, I don't want that. I don't want that.
Yeah, you have to bring the
Just tell me when
remains.
you squash them.
You want some?
We need
Just
proof
tell
of
me when
death.
you squash them.
If I squash one, you're getting it.
Do you want one of the drug cups? I'll give you that.
Tea
You
cups?
can fill it up.
Oh, no, I'm gonna put more in it. I'm gonna squash them.
Okay. If
We'll
you
get
have
you a box.
questions about our bugs. Alright, Barber bloopers, here's the not funny part. So Jeff's gonna click on each number. I have 6 videos here for you. Any observations?
Money's gone way too fast.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cut into the
Absolutely.
lane.
I didn't see a breaker on the truck that went on the right. Was on the right.
Yeah, so he started out in that turning lane. I don't think he realized that it was the turning lane until it was too late.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously our driver wasn't able to notice that he was trying to get over. But we avoided that accident. Definitely. Hit the blue arrow to go back. And go to number 2, please. observations?
I've hit
Should
one of
happen.
those
Yep.
before. It makes a.
So what did
hell
our
of a
driver
lot.
do, right?
Didn't swerve.
He slowed down.
Slowed down, did not swerve. Okay, he avoided an accident with the cars next to him. So he did a great job there. Obviously, whoever was hauling the garbage can should have been a lot smarter and secured it, especially since it was empty.
Yeah, I see a lot of those
Wait,
people
wait,
that
wait,
they
wait.
don't.
the truck?
I don't believe it got wedged into the truck. I believe that we kept going.
It deflected.
What?
It deflected.
It deflected.
Deflected.
Number 3.
Oh,
Wow.
Comments, questions?
that's an everyday occurrence.
Yeah.
That's a holy crap moment.
Yeah, so this
Yeah.
one actually came through Samsara as a severe harsh break. And you
Did
can
ever,
see
ever
why.
get into the pants out of his ass after that one?
Well,
Yeah.
there was a dog that hit the dashboard. So,
Oh.
but the dog is okay. You can see that that car started in the left turning lane, crossed over
Yeah.
2 lanes into the right lane. We clearly had a green light, so our driver did not anticipate them crossing over multiple lanes. And I'm assuming that that driver was waiting for that truck to get through the intersection to get behind
But they
them.
probably do that.
But
every
it was
day.
not correct of what they did. But our driver handled the situation very, very well.
Yeah, he was paying attention.
He 100% was. He then got to a safe place where he could pull over, called, and kind of took a breath because he needed to pull over. So
Yeah.
that's the best thing that he could have done.
Yep.
Like I said, the dog was with him. He was okay. So kudos to this driver for sure.
Ooh.
Questions, comments, concerns on that one? This one was showing that even though it's not winter, you know, we always think of ice causing accidents in front of us and things like that. This car hydroplaned. Our driver was able to be fully aware of what was happening, kept a very safe following distance with the weather, did not spike his brakes or anything like that to cause an accident with vehicles behind him.
He didn't stop and see if they were all right either, though.
He did not. He
You
did
know,
not.
technically, if DOT seen that, they could fine that driver for not rendering aid.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I did get a call immediately after this accident. The driver was very worked up because it was, like you can see, it's a family style vehicle, whether it's a minivan or a big SUV. So. And obviously with all the rain we've had lately, like flash
Yeah.
flooding, things like that, you need to be very careful out there.
422 the other day was coming across like from Butler. Was an absolute lake. It was ridiculous.
Oh, really?
Why do these all look like the same truck?
Because none of them are you, Marty.
Oh, I've seen that my whole life.
I think that guy's attracted them idiots there.
So, comments on this one?
He was paying attention.
Things our driver did good? Paying attention?
He probably looked in his left. If he was smart, he would have checked his left mirror to make sure there was nothing there,
Definitely.
or at least a safe distance between the car behind him.
So, Mr. Dave Chops kind of serves as our driver representative, and when I brought this video to his attention, he said that this is a daily occurrence for you guys,
It is.
especially on the highway.
Yeah.
Somebody cutting you off, somebody pulling out in front of you, things like that. This driver aborted that exit lane, and in my opinion, it looks like he intentionally waited because he had ample time to get out behind the car ahead of our driver, and he chose not to. And based on the fender guard that is dangling off of his car, it looks like he doesn't care that he pulled out in front of us. But things that our driver did good, definitely slowed down, did not completely swerve into the next lane to cut off that car that you can see came around him. He completely avoided that accident. We just absolutely, especially now with construction, we have to completely be aware that that is going to happen. You guys see it every day.
It's usually the cars flying past us
Mhm.
to get into the construction
Yes.
zone, or flying past us to get to their exit, which is right there.
Right. So you definitely have those situations, and unfortunately, it falls on you guys to be the defensive driver and to take responsibility and make sure that you are safe and the person making those bad choices is safe too. This is here, Brookville. Looks familiar.
Really?
Holy cow.
I'll be calling the bus company.
Yeah, I did.
Good.
Yeah,
So
that
this
is-
video led to a very interesting conversation with the school.
Oh,
I did send it, I sent them a copy of the video. They said that they would address it and offered to have the driver call and personally apologize to our driver.
The driver, that's a school bus driver, he should have lost his job right there.
Yeah, you
Should have. Should
You
have, and I
definitely
agree.
should have. That is.
But we don't have control over that. So I made sure to send a very strongly worded email to the school after I had a very long, lengthy conversation with the office. And I attached the video to it and sent it in to them.
Good.
So this driver reported that
That
they
means
also
it's-
only went 4 miles down the road, picked up a kid and turned around.
Oh.
So any driver, school bus knows that when you are in that turning lane, you turn, that's the way you go to school. The fact that they were in that lane is ridiculous. But our driver handled it very, very well. He was very upset about it, but like I said,
The
he
sad
had
thing
safety
is
as his main
see-
priority there.
Sad thing is, I see school bus drivers doing more and more dumb stuff.
School bus drivers and school van drivers
Yeah.
are,
Horrible.
yeah,
Especially the vans. The vans
Yeah.
are real bad.
yeah, I've had,
They're getting. It seems like they're getting worse. I
that's
don't know what.
exactly what the last group said too. So it's just one of those, unfortunately, the responsibility falls on you guys. Obviously, your safety is important. You have to be defensive drivers and cover up for all these turds making bad choices. So make sure that safety for yourself is your main priority there. Any questions on any of those videos? We're gonna go into CSA score updates. Unsafe driving, we've kind of maintained, we've come down a little bit. Still would like it to come down some more. So something that can help us with this is not speeding. Samsara, the way it's programmed into the truck, I get alerts when you are speeding, especially if it's severe. If you have severe speeding alerts, I will be on the phone with you. Sometimes I understand, like, you miss a sign and you're going into a zone, like you come around a bend and you miss the sign or whatever. But you need to be making sure you're paying attention to those signs in those speeding zones, especially in the construction zones, because most of them will say that times are doubled.
I don't have to worry about that. My truck sees a speed limit sign, it slows down.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Pretty soon you're gonna be taking a nap while your truck's driving you around.
Yeah, mine's trucking for dummies.
Well, there you go. You got it covered. So crash indicator, our crash indicator is actually down. We appreciate that. We want to keep it going down. That comes from all those like videos where you guys are being defensive drivers and making sure that you're covering yourself, but also everybody else making bad choices. So we appreciate you guys. Just keep going with being defensive. And it says drive like your loved one is on each side of your vehicle.
That's how I secure my loads.
That's good.
Yeah, that's how I was taught to secure my
Yes,
loads.
absolutely. Hours of service, PC, we want to make sure we're using it the way it's intended. Obviously, if there's an issue, if you get cited for it, we're gonna look at data queuing it, making sure that you were in the right there, and you don't get penalized for it. Paperwork that you're required to have with you in case of DOT inspections. 8 days of blank paper logs. We do keep them stocked in the driver's room, so when you're through, make sure you double check your staff, make sure you have the proper amount. Diagnostic and malfunctions, data transfer instructions in your manual, and then you also need to make sure you're certifying your logs, because that can also lead to a citation of not certifying your logs. So if you need log edits, certified your log, call in, let us know that you need something done. If we can do it, we'll do it, and then you'll have to recertify after.
I read an article, I get alerts, you know, and see it when they're changing something. And they're gonna make it where you don't have to carry that manual with you no more to tell them how to use the law.
Really?
You know, I think I've seen something about that too recently.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that. But currently you still have to have them.
Yeah.
So don't get anybody the wrong idea.
Well, I still have them.
Okay.
I didn't throw it out yet. I'm thinking about, it's a pretty good size envelope. I'm thinking about that's where I'll put the bugs.
Okay. Perfect. Just don't make them flat. I want to see them in their.
Well, if I
Fully
squish it out,
squished.
it'll be,
I know, but I don't want them to be pancaked onto each other. I need to be able to see
Oh,
how
like
many
an
of each.
individual.
Yes.
alright.
Okay.
Saves you the counter.
Vehicle maintenance. 1.79 is where we're kind of lingering. So lamps and brakes are going to be key to bringing that score down. So make sure you're doing your pre-trips and post-trips, checking those lamps, getting those bulbs replaced, or having Pizza or Scott or Matt take a look at them when you're through, as much as possible. Make sure you're good to go there. Any questions on CSA stuff? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay. All right, new things for us here. So these are going to be printed up as stickers that will go. They're going to be vinyl stickers that are going to go on your visor. So when you put your visor down, you'll have a quick reference on who to call and what to do for an accident. You got both 24/7 numbers, so no matter what time of day, if there's an accident. I know recently we've had a string of people backing into us at truck stops. So whatever the time is, call one of these numbers or both of them, get a hold of somebody, and get that reporting process started. And then there's just some quick guide is what you need to do. Make sure you secure the scene. If you need 911, call 911. Call the office, make sure that somebody is told here, get that information relayed. You need to take pictures and collect information. And we're gonna go through that more in detail. But these stickers will be coming and we'll get them in all the trucks as they arrive. Everybody's gonna receive a new accident packet. So the accident packets we currently use are little envelopes from Great West. They're not Barber specific to what we need. They're just very general motor carrier accident scene things. So I have completely redone our accident packets so everybody has information that is specifically to Barber Trucking. And we'll go through each of these one by one. So the first thing is your accident scene checklist, which Benji should have walked through with you out at the scene. You have 3 steps to complete, and then on the right you have your keynotes. Absolutely do not say sorry. Absolutely do not say you feel bad. Do not admit any kind of guilt. I don't care if they trip over the line on the road or swallow a bug. Do not say you're sorry. Do not admit guilt, because they will find a way to use it against you and use it against us. So do not admit guilt no matter what. It is going to be a high stress situation most times, so just try your best to remain professional, stay calm, and be polite. If you can't do those 3 things, you need to take a breath, walk away, and call me. Okay? Stick to facts only, so don't offer any opinions or suggestions, facts only, and never share photos with anybody outside of Barber Trucking. It needs to come to the office. You shouldn't be sharing with other drivers even, and if the police want copies of the photos, they can call me. Okay? Secure the scenes, scene safety, make sure that everything's stopped, parked, safe. If the police are coming, you don't want to move anything until the police get there. The police need to see everything as it is, and then they will instruct you on how things need to be moved, if they can be moved, or however that's going to be handled. Notify the authorities. If you need 911, obviously you need to call 911. We don't want you to prolong needing an ambulance or anything like that, but you also need to call us as soon as possible. 411? 911.
Number.
Just call me, Marty.
All
I
right.
will come to your rescue.
Alright.
Number 3 is photograph everything. I do have everything as simply stated as possible here. So you need to make sure that you have the scene all together, which again, Benji, I think was going over all of this with you at the scene there. All vehicles involved, any debris or leaks, road layout, including skid marks, things like that, if there's barriers, anything like that, traffic control signals, signs, obstructions, is there a stop sign that they ran, is there a stoplight that was malfunctioning, things like that. Weather, so you need that because if there's a glare, if it's super sunny and they're coming up over a hill, maybe they didn't see the stop sign or the stoplight, things like that. But you need to cover all those bases. Any vehicle damage, just get the overall vehicles if you can, that's the best option, but you want multiple angles because a small dent like this will look massive head on, and then you look at the side and the depth of that dent's not really that bad. So you need multiple angles of everything. And then all of the documents you can also just take pictures of. That's the easiest way to collect information. License plates, insurance cards, cab cards, company logos if it's another tractor trailer, unit numbers, things like that. If the police are on scene, you want a picture of their initial police report. It won't have a lot of details, but it'll give you the other driver, other car, things like that. And then they'll do a full report later on that I'll get. If other drivers are involved, ask their permission before taking a picture of their driver's license because that is their personal information. They can say no, but we'll get that information from the police report. But you need to get their contact information at least. If there's a witness on scene, you want to try to get their information. So if anybody saw it, obviously, if somebody can speak up on your behalf that you didn't cause the accident, that's what we want. And then we'll go through the diagrams here that are listed also. Do not ever take pictures of bodies, body parts, any injuries, or anybody saying they don't want to be photographed, because that will lead into other legal issues. So, no permission, no picture. Injuries, blood, bodies, no pictures. Okay? And then Benji and my direct lines are at the bottom of that page if you have any questions on what you need to take pictures of or need help with. Questions on the accident scene checklist? Did Benji cover that really well with the scene?
Mm-hmm.
Good deal. Emergency triangle diagram. This is also going to be in your packet. You're all familiar with how they need to be set out. But again, in a high stress situation, those numbers just might not be there. So you have the pictures with the numbers laid out. You can just refer to. You don't have to try to remember exactly what you need to do. Questions here? Good deal. Accident report form. This is going to be overwhelming when you look at it. I apologize. But this is for you to know what we here in the office are going to be asking you. It's going to feel like we're asking you a million questions, but I promise you, every line on this sheet is something that the insurance asks me for. So there is an entire another sheet that I have to fill out afterwards that I have information that I can look up, like tractor information, trailer information, load information, things like that. But this is all the pertinent information that I need right away from you. So everybody in the office will have a copy of this at their desk. You will all have a copy of it in your truck. Everybody will be on the same page as far as what's being asked. You have an idea of what's needed. That way, in a high stress situation, you don't feel like we're bombarding you with things that you don't think matter. Okay? Any questions on this? A lot of the passenger, other vehicle information will come from those photos of their insurance card or their driver's license. So you don't have to ask them all of those things, but you need contact information from them. Next one. Vehicle and roadway diagrams. So this is as simple as possible. I understand that these are not the only roadways or diagrams. So like the four-way intersection can be used to make a T or a Y, or the roundabout is laid over top of it. You have your four-lane divided highway there, whether it's a turning lane to divide it or a median. And then you have your on-ramps and on and off ramps. Vehicle damage, the top part will be other vehicles, and I was assured that everybody understands that the SUV can be used for any personal kind of car. Trucks, cars, vans, SUVs, obviously the tractor trailer for any other company, and then our damage, because we want to make sure we have as much documentation of what happened and the damage there to be covered as we can. And then everybody will have a copy of the testing chart, so you have an idea if you need to be drug tested or not. We have up to 8 hours to get you tested legally, but it's best to do it within the first 2 hours. So if there's any reason that you cannot test in the first 2 hours, I absolutely need to know because it needs documented.
Sorry. Be done. Sorry.
Any questions on the accident packets? Okay, and then just with the exclamation mark. This is an example of an accident that happened recently that we always assume won't happen to us, but also having that checklist and everything would be super helpful.
Is that a barber truck?
It is. We had a driver lose consciousness momentarily and ended up on the other side of the roadway. Everyone is okay. It could have ended a lot worse. But it's just something we need to make sure that we're being aware of what's going on. And then obviously at the end of everything, we need to make sure we are getting all the information together that we need. And then obviously we've had nothing but rain this whole spring and early summer, but we are going into heat waves, so we need to make sure that we're reminding each other to stay hydrated. The best thing you can do is drink a lot of water. I know coffee isn't the most hydrating,
Why isn't it? It's got water in it.
but it'll dry
My
you
wife
out.
said the same thing.
Okay. I do have waters here you guys can take with you today, and I have liquid IV packs, which are full of electrolytes. So if you want to take a couple packs to have with you in your truck in case you feel like you are getting dehydrated, you can mix in with a bottle of water. I know it's hard to eat when it's hot out, but you need to make sure you're also eating because it's just as important as staying hydrated. Sunglasses to avoid glare, hats to help keep you cool when you're outside and keep the sun off your head. And then obviously if you're hot, you can be tired and cranky. So you want to practice defensive driving because you can only account for yourself on the road. You can't account for everyone else taking care of themselves. So make sure you're taking care of yourselves out there. Any questions? No? Okay. I have copies of accident packets for everyone today. I have copies of the spotted lantern flies for everybody today, and I have copies of the heat stroke and heat exhaustion flyers for everybody as reminders.